Disney's earning report call for quarter three just wrapped up, and I listened in, and here's what I learned. And Jon Favreau releases just the littlest bit of information on what the possible plotline could be for the TV series that's going to be on Disney's streaming service 2019. Stay tuned. So Disney's earning calls for quarter three just wrapped up, and we were hoping to get a little bit of information on some of the Star Wars projects. And Bob Iger spent most of the talk dealing with the DTC, which is their direct-to-consumer, their streaming service, what that would be like, and a little more information on how that would be set up. So I did make a few notes here, because I'm a nerd. And he talks about the streaming service. He talked a lot about their purchasing of Fox Studios, which includes FX, Fox, Searchlight, 20th Century Fox, and of course all the properties that they own, the X-Men, Fantastic Four, Planet of the Apes, and Deadpool, just to name a few of the ones that he actually mentioned as being excited to get the possibility to, produce content based on those IPs, those intellectual properties. And it's interesting to hear his plan. So basically, they're going to have their streaming service, and it's not going to be a ton, like a high volume like Netflix is. They're going to more rely on just the few of the properties that they own or will be acquiring and slowly build it. He said, there was a quote where he said, they plan on walk before they run when it comes to adding content, because they feel that they have enough strength in the Star Wars and Marvel properties and then the Disney Pixar stuff alone that they don't need to pile on a bunch of volume, and then the price would reflect the amount of content they're going to be providing. So, I'd expect when it first comes out and when it first launches in late 2019, as he said, there still wasn't an exact date, but he just said late calendar year 2019. So sometime in the fall, I would assume next year, possibly September, October. That there'll be a few, wasn't going to be like a mass rush of things that they're going to put on the streaming service. They're looking more for quality, which we already kind of see the hints of because they're spending $100 million for the Favreau TV series, which he did mention that. He mentioned there was the Star Wars, the Clone Wars. He mentioned there was another animated movie that was in the works. Didn't mention any more information on that or any other details. So, is it Star Wars? Is it a Marvel animated movie? There have been rumors that there is a Star Wars animated movie that's going to be released on this service, but he didn't say anything further. So at this point, it's still unknown. He did say that there was a Marvel live-action series that they were going to be releasing, and he was excited to be acquiring the X-Men property too. So now that Fox deal might not go through for a couple years, so it might not, that might not happen right off the bat. But it is something they're working on and something that they're looking forward to. A couple other mentions. He mentioned the National Geographic. They'll be that's part of the deal too. They'll be acquiring that. Very interested in that. He mentioned some of the ESPN stuff that they own, and then he talked about the app being. They'll have certain separate apps within the main app. It was kind of unclear what he was saying, but basically they'll have an ESPN section, a Hulu section, because they'll acquire a lot, like 50% of Hulu, or maybe not 50%, but it's quite a bit. Once they acquire Fox, because there's so much Fox content on Hulu, they'll acquire that, so there'll be a Hulu section for all the stuff that they acquire, and then there'll be like the family stuff, which I assume would be all the Disney movies, animated movies, Pixar, probably Marvel and Star Wars will be, added into that family service as well. A couple other things that were mentioned. There was a good question, and then the answer was kind of enlightening. There was someone who asked what their plan was for trying to acquire the old Star Wars films, because there's certain deals that they made with Starz and Netflix where other streaming services or other companies, networks, have the rights to some of the older Star Wars films. And he had said that they have no plan as of now. They are trying to negotiate, or whatever could be negotiated before the ending of the terms with these companies. They would try to do so, but their marketing campaign for when this service launches, they're going to really gear it towards everything that's all the new content. It's going to be new original content, everything coming out from 2019 forward will be unencumbered by any other kind of legalities or ties to other companies. So although you might not be able to see Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, New Hope, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, if you want to watch that on the streaming service, they are going to have the Marvel TV series, the Star Wars TV series, live action and Clone Wars, and this other animated show that we're not, or movie that we're not, we're wondering what it's about. We don't know yet. And then here's the list he gave of the movies that are coming out in 2010. Dumbo, Captain Marvel, Aladdin, Toy Story 4, Lion King, Frozen 2, Avengers, Star Wars Episode 9, Jungle Cruise, and then I think he said Artemis Fowl. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that. I wasn't familiar with that title. But that's 10 movies that will be coming out in 2019 that will be unencumbered and on the streaming service. So there's going to be a lot of content, it seems, right off the bat. Other than that, there wasn't too much Star Wars talk. He did mention there'll be I think a shareholders or investors meeting, which they'll give more information out in the coming months. So there's been reports that October might see, a nice release of further information and details. So as far as that call goes, that was really all that was talked about. It was mostly the direct-to-consumer content, their streaming service, and then the acquisition of Fox. So that leads me to the Favreau report. that the series. Now he did release a little information. The series would deal with the Mandalorians and focus on Mandalore. It was just a little hint or a little tidbit. It wasn't too much information, but it seems that Mandalore will be the focus or primary focus of the live action series. So if you love the Mandalore stuff that the Clone Wars dealt with, I think you're going to be very, very happy. When I heard that, I got really excited because I love Mandalore. I think it's a fascinating, fantastic planet and storyline, and I loved all the stuff that Filoni did with the Clone Wars. Hopefully Filoni, will be involved with the live action series. Favreau has worked with Filoni on the Clone Wars, so it makes sense. I've done a report on this a while ago that I think Filoni would be perfect to assist in any way he can in helping Favreau develop the world of Star Wars, and it also gets Filoni's feet wet in the live action realm and film realm. So I think that'd be a great idea. We'll have to wait and see if it happens, but fingers crossed that comes true. So that's really interesting and exciting news. Mandalorian, apparently it'll take place 3 years after Return of the Jedi, and Mandalore is in crisis, and the show will be focused around trying to rebuild Mandalore. So maybe Sabine, if they could bring her in. She's probably alive at this point, I would guess, because timeline-wise, she goes off at the end of Rebels to meet up with Ahsoka and go find Ezra, and so that took place right after Return of the Jedi. Rebels ends right after the Battle of Endor, so this series kind of picks up right around that mark. So who knows? She could come back. Could that mean Ahsoka could come back too? The possibilities are very exciting. So. Okay, guys, well, that is the news as far as the earnings call report goes and the information drop on the Jon Favreau live-action series. So let me know what you guys think. Are you excited about the streaming service? Do you think you'll be signing up for Disney's streaming service, the direct-to-consumer content? And are you excited about the Mandalorian plotline for the live-action TV series? Let me know down in the comments down below. And if you like the video, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more content. And until next time, lock the doors and hope they don't have blasters.